paints on. And I wanted to show you something before we started. So for acrylic, so last time Angela brought it up that acrylic should not ever be washed down into the drain. So this is what you want to do. You don't want to wash your acrylic paints off your palette. What you want to do is wait for it to dry, and then you can go in and easily peel it off and then dispose of it in trash. So this way you won't have to wash it because it's easier to peel, but also you won't it will help with the environment because acrylics are plastics that are not meant to be washed down the drain. So from now on, you can just peel your acrylic paint off.
You see. Oh, yeah.
So after today's class, if you have leftover paint, then obviously still try to wrap it, try to preserve it. If not, just give it a a day, a day or two until it's fully dry, and then you can just peel it off and throw it in the garbage.
Oh, easy.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I wash.
Yeah, I didn't wash. I used the recycling plastic things from whatever I eat, and they got the plastic tray or whatever. I just use it, and then I throw the whole things away.
Oh, that's good. That's good too.
Yeah.
So Angela's using like a plastic container that can easily
whatever
dispose.
you eat or plastic tray or tops or whatever, and then you're going to throw it away anyway. So you save it and then you use it, and then after that you just throw the whole things.
Yeah, that's also a very good idea.
Yeah. It's just that at first I thought that the water, when you wash the brush, the water is no good, but then you said that it should be okay. It's just the color, right? So
yeah,
so it's okay to wash to drain it into the toilet, I think.
as long as there's no plastic chunks or
Yeah.
big chunks of paint, it should be fine. But obviously, this should not be washed down. So from now on, we can all be more mindful of that. Okay. So hopefully everybody has the reference down and we can continue. So again, I will try to mix the paint to the best of my abilities. So first, let's start on our flower because that is the main subject here. So if you don't have the exact colors, you can always mix them as long as you have the three primary colors. So yellow, red, and blue. So for the sunflower, I will just be using yellow. But we want to create like two different shades of yellow now. So you see that at the base of each petal, there is a darker shade of orange. So we want to create that too. So for that color, I will just be adding a little bit of red to my yellow to create a more orange color. And then for the center part, it's very dark orange. It's almost like brown. For that part, I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow to my red. And in the center, you can see that the center is kind of greenish. It's still orange, but it's kind of a cooler tone. So it's kind of like a dark mossy green color. So green, we all know that green is created by adding yellow and blue. So all we have to do there is just add a little bit of blue. So right now, I'm going to get my thin brush this time. So thin brush, so we can start to go into the details right away. Sometimes, especially for acrylic painting, the tools you use really matters. Uh, so so try your best to add details with your thin brush. So I'm gonna dip it in a little bit of water first. So first, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add a little bit of red to this yellow color so that we get our darker shade of yellow, the orange color that we see at the base of our petals. So we'll have this color and this yellow color ready to use. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to start painting at the base of the petals. You might have to add a few layers before it really starts to show. I'm going to start at the base and then slowly brush upwards so it gets lighter. Just do that for all the petals around the sunflower. And while it's still wet, we will clean our brush and starting from the tip and adding our main yellow color. And we can brush it into the darker part. try your best to get a nice blend of the colors. And while I wait for our petals to dry, we can darken the center. We can add the color for the center, which is a very, very dark orange color. So almost like brown. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a dark orange color. And then I'm going to add some black to it. Just a little bit. Just put a little bit of black on the side and then mix it in with your brush manually, little by little, so that we don't accidentally use too much and ruin our color. So what I'm doing is I just grab a little bit of black and then put it in. And if I need more, I'll just take a little bit more. So very slowly mixing the colors. So I'm just slowly coloring it inside, outlining the base.
Yeah, I miss it. Red and what else?
Red and a little bit of yellow
Yellow?
until you get this very dark brown color. And
Okay.
then you can, no, like a dark orange color. And then you add a little bit of black to make it appear more
Oh,
brown.
okay. Okay.
But like always, if you already have a wide selection of colors, feel free to just use those. And if you look at the center of the sunflower, you'll notice that it's darker and it has a little bit of green tint to it. So what I will do is I will just add a little bit of blue, really little bit, and into my brown color. And if it's not enough, just add a little bit more. So work the color in very slowly so that we don't have to waste too much paint trying to find the right color. So that is not quite enough. I'll just add some more blue. And now I'll just slowly use my paintbrush to just dab the color on in the middle. And now that the outside leaves are dried, I am going to start just painting over the leaves, the petals again, so that it can really pop out. And right now, the edges of my sunflower, my petals, are not very defined because it is slightly blending in with my background blue color. That's because the blue color and my yellow color, they are kind of too similar in tone. So they're about the same darkness. So it's kind of blending together and not very clear. So what I'm gonna do later is I'm going to mix. If you are already beyond the step, you can do this already. Or if you got the color right the first time around, then that's great. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to mix my blue background color and I'm gonna make it lighter. And then I'm going to paint around the flower. So hopefully that way it will be able to stand out. So now I'm gonna wash my paintbrush and start mixing a new color. So for the background color, what we want is to start with white. And just add the tiniest bit of blue. So last time we started with blue first, so that was wrong. So tiniest blue in this white color. So you can even compare it to the reference picture if you want with a piece of paper. I find that this can be really helpful. And it's not quite blue enough. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of blue. So barely any more. So now what we have is a very, very, very light blue color that we will reuse. So it's almost just white. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to use this blue color to outline around my sunflower so that I can clearly define the borders of my petals like this. So you can clearly tell where the petals end instead of having it just look like it's blending into the sky. And down here, between the leaves, we can see that there is a very bright spot that is the sunlight coming through. So what we can do for that part is to just use white. You can just use plain white for this area. And then later on, we can blend it into the leaves using a very, very bright yellow color, like the sun's ray. You can also use this as an opportunity to outline the leaves better too. And then I am going to use a larger brush to help me blend it in better with the darker blues. Just try your best to blend in the background. So now, just to make the sunflower petals even clearer, I'm going to add a lighter layer, an even lighter layer of yellow to create some color variations for the parts of the sunflower that is kind of transparent because of the light. So all I'm gonna do is add white to my yellow and a little bit of red to give it that warmth. So right now, this is what I have. So it's even lighter than the yellow that we currently have. So hopefully that will help us create even greater definition. I'm just going to put this color on the edges. So to even add greater detail, you can see that some of the sunflowers, their tips are darker than the main parts of the petal. So you can look at the reference picture and just add the darker orange we used for the inside of the petals and just add it to the tips. Just add a little bit to the tip. And you can also go in and add this darker orange color in the spaces between the petals to help you add a little border to distinguish between the petals. So this definitely helps if you have a thinner brush. So I'm just adding a little bit of this darker red to the tip. So only certain petals have this. This can also give us a little variation between the petals, or else they will all just look the same, which is not very natural.
What? Powering on.
So just continue adding the details with the lighter orange and the darker orange that we mixed. So never add them in random places. Always look at the reference to see patterns. So most of the lighter colors appear in the center of the petal because that's where the petal is the most thin, most see-through, so the light can pass through easier, while the base and the tip is much darker. So I'm still adding some darker oranges to the tip. So just alternate between these three colors and mix between them. To get our details. Especially when you're layering the acrylics, sometimes it will take a couple of layers before the color really starts to come through. So just be patient and keep adding colors until you get the full vibrant color that we want. So now that we have a lot of details in our leaf, our petals, I want to also add some details to the center area of our sunflower. So for this area, the details are very, very small. So it's very, very difficult for us to capture it fully by using acrylics. So what I'm just gonna do is I'm just going to add little dots of our orange paint. Just little dots and dab it all over the center. Just try to only use the tip of your paint brush and just add little dots to try to capture the look of the seeds, the sunflower seeds. If your dots are getting a little too bright, if your color is a little too bright, or you accidentally made the dots a little too big, just wipe it away with a piece of paper towel. So right now I'm just adding a little ring of orange dots along the center. Around the center, I mean. So I'm not putting it into the darker center part. If the color is a little off, just use a piece of paper and just try to wipe it off. Or you can go over with a darker color, the darker brown color again. I'm also going to use a darker orange to add dots in the center. So much darker dots in the center. So just try your best to capture these details. And then on the outside, I'm actually going to add little darker dots. So we have 3 layers. The center layer with the darkest color, and the middle layer with the lighter yellow dots, and the very outer layer where we're using darker brown dots. So I'm just slowly dabbing it, slowly pressing down, up and down to create that textured effect. If you have a wrong color, just wipe it. So that's where I'm going to leave my main flower. What I'm gonna move on to though is the little light area in the center of our canvas here. So this area, and you can see that there's like this very big, very bright light that is bleeding into the leaves and covering them. So I feel like that's a very important part for us to capture. So for this area, first I'm going to mix our green color again. So again, for the green, all we need is our yellow color and our blue. That gives us the most basic blue color. But then you want to adjust the shade. Then you want to adjust the color. You can make it colder, so you can make it a darker, colder green by adding more blue to it. So this is our normal green. And if I add more blue to it, it will become a more colder green color. So to make it warmer, we just do the opposite. We add some red. And then we get this warmer green color. So you can see that it's much warmer. And our drawing here requires a pretty warm green color. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to slowly paint over the leaves around this light area. I'm just going to slowly paint over it. So like, for example, these two, I'm going to paint a lighter color over it just to distinguish it better. So like this area and this leaf below it. So I'll know that these are the leaves that we see the light bleed into the most. So how I'm gonna show that is first, clean your brushes. and take your plain white color and just paint in the center area to show that that is where the direct part that the light is hitting. Okay. So take your plain white color try to wash your brush as good as possible before going in with the white. Plain white color and just cover this area and also go into the leaves a bit. And then we can see that the white part, especially in the white part in our reference picture, so this light part, it's slowly blending into the leaves. So how we can do that is we add our white to our yellow to create this very, very bright yellow color. But make sure to add a little bit of orange so that it's also warm and not just desaturated. So when you add white and black to a color, usually it just creates like a tint color, which means it's desaturated, so it's less bright than it should be. So let's say I added some white to this. Instead of making it a brighter yellow, it just becomes more white and colorless. So how we can fix that is we can add a little bit of warmer colors like orange and red to give it back that vibrance, that brightness. So with this, I'll slowly use this color to blend from white into our leaves. Might want to add a little bit of water to help your acrylic blend a little better. Just white blending into the oranges of our leaf. Also on this side, and just make the white blend into it. like this. So it looks like all of this area is being lit up by the sunlight. So just put orange and blend it into the white. And then at the end here, we can blend it back into a green color. So again, green, we use very warm yellow / orange and mix that in to the blue. We also want a much darker shade of green to provide more contrast. So to make a green darker, just add more blue. And then in order to make it warmer, add a little bit of orange and yellow. Now, to make our leaves pop out more, we need to finally fill in the sunflowers behind our leaves so that the green can stand out against the yellows. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use yellow to paint in the areas with sunflowers. If your yellow is blending too much into your green, then add some red and use an orange color instead. As the first layer. We will be brightening it up with yellow later on. Like this. So now our leaves are popping out, which is what we want. So just use your orange color to mark any place where there are sunflowers. For example, in the gaps of these stems, So I'll go back to coloring these leaves now that we have them better distinguished. If you color too much, you can always just use the color of the background to use to erase your mistakes. So I feel like this stem is a little bit too big, so I will just use the color of the sky to help me erase a bit. So wherever any leaves around this light is touching the sky, just use white to blend it in to orange and then to green. So you see that it's like white and then a bit of orange and then the green, which is the main color of your leaf. So now that our orange has dried a bit, I can add in the leaves of our sunflowers in now. So just take yellow and just put leaves along the outside. So keep the orange as the center color and just add yellow around the outside. Okay. Just like this. And then do it for the other sunflowers too. So right now, since we are coloring our yellow on top of a very dark color, we would have to add a few more layers after this to make it vibrant, the exact color that we want. So for now, just try your best. And so now with this out of the way, we can focus on the leaf details. So if you notice, all of the leaves, especially up front, has like a white outline around it, as well as the stem. So that is the light shining on it, and it's also very helpful to us for us to outline, to use the white lines to outline our leaves. So we will do that at the end. After we color in the stems fully. If you see any white spaces that doesn't have any paint on it, just try to fill it in as best as you can. And then now I will add a bit of black to my green. If it becomes too dark, just add yellow. So dark green. So just a darker shade of the green we have. So I can add some details. Like the center of the stems. You can add this darker color to the center of our stems. So that we have that contrast when we add our white outlines later on. Also, the lines within the leaves, you can try your best to color them in with your brush, but it might be hard to since it is very, very small. And whenever there are lighter areas on your leaf, just add some light yellowish green to show that it's the light coming through. So here I'm just adding a little bit of yellow on the light areas of my leaf. You can do that for all of the leaves. Just add yellow for the light parts. Especially this leaf up here. And then before we forget, you can take some white, the background color, and just paint it into the leaves to make these zigzag patterns. Like that. So there's a little zigzag to show the texture on the leaves. So just paint a little bit into our leaves with the background color. And then we get the zigzags. We can also do the same for this big leaf down here. Try to create the zigzags. And now for the finishing touch for the leaves and the stems is to add a white outline along the leaves and the stems. So like what I'm doing here, like that. You can also use yellow. I think yellow would actually be better. So add a little yellowish outline along the leaves and the stems to show that the light is shining on them. You can also add some yellow to your white to make a very bright yellow. I think that is the best way to do it. Try your best to make the outlines as thin as possible, as thin and accurate as possible. Like this. I'm just outlining. I'm also going to add the light parts of this leaf with some yellow. I will continue to add the light outline in this leaf as well. Like this. And on the darker areas, I will just add some yellow. Like that. Just some yellow. To show that this part is getting light, but not as much light as the higher parts. So do the same for this stem over here. And before we forget, take the brown that we had before. So add red, yellow, and black. And just color in the center areas of the background sunflowers. And also, just make your leaves a little brighter now. You should be able to do that now because we've had layers of lighter paint, layers of yellow beneath it. And to create these little spikes here to show the petals, we can just take our green color and just color it into our sunflower here to give it that more defined outline of a sunflower. Like that. Also up here. And here it's lacking a bit of depth because we cannot see the leaves behind it. So all you have to do is just mix an even darker green. So just add black and add some more yellow to balance it out. And use that dark color to just mark these dark areas that are hiding behind. And then we'd be finished. So they don't have to be very detailed because they are behind. They are very far behind. So they will will appear blurry, and you won't be able to tell what is what, except these big blobs of colors. So just add these dark spots. And we should also add some lighter spots in there as well. Smaller, lighter spots. So I'm also adding some smaller, lighter spots in the background, along with my dark spots. And we can also add some shapes in there, like some stems in the background, to suggest that there are a lot more things crowded in the back. And then just outline our final leaf over here. And then we are pretty much complete. So hopefully you were able to get a lot done today. If there were some parts you may have missed, you can always check the live stream. But if you would like to show everybody your creations, your pieces, we would love to see it. Ooh, Angela, that looks very nice. I can see all of your stems very clearly, so you did a very good job.
But I can't get the yellow, bright yellow. So you said that when you just yellow is very light, right? So mix with white, right?
Yes.
And but then it's then light yellow. My yellow didn't distinguish like the highlight of yellow. I can't get it. The
So
highlight
like
of
the,
yellow. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's white
So
and yellow, right?
yeah. So
Anything else?
for me, my highlights are more white than they are yellow. So
Okay, more
you can
white.
just add more white to it, and then hopefully it will look better.
Okay.
Yeah, since yellow can be a little dark to see
Yeah.
against our green background. So just add more white, and then it should look good.
Okay. So it's just little white, yellow, and lots of white. So it's just like almost white color, but it's got a little bit yellow inside, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, Stella's, yours looks very nice. That looks very good. Stella is very good with colors.
I think I need to redo it. I need to redo it. Thank you.
A very good class on.
Thank you, May. So Stella, you don't have to redo this painting. Since you already know how to paint so well, you can try to find your own picture now.
Yeah, but now your highlight, it looks so great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the main part is just to look at the reference picture. Pay very a lot of attention to the reference picture. That's the most important part.
May I take a picture of your
Oh yes.
yeah. Thank you.
No problem. So we are done with class, so everybody is free to leave. I will still keep this my painting up here for a little